Boom! It's your boy Mosa from the Homies Hub, the king of Medellín, the king of the nightlife, the greatest rapper in the travel space. I'm here to basically do my video Medellín versus Pattaya, uh, and basically kind of tell you guys where I like better. You know, the pros and the cons of it all. This is just gonna be a video where I'm kind of just ranting, right? So I know you guys know I do this on live stream a lot, but I might as well come and talk with you guys. Hit the like button on the way in, man. Drop a comment. Make sure you guys join the community. We are having a homies meetup the last week of March in Medellin. So if you guys can make it out there, join the Discord, send me an email, find out how you can get some tickets and get some access to all the fun things we have going on. And that's it. And if you guys are watching and you're not subscribed, make sure that you guys sub up. Let's go. All right, so let's talk about it. Pattaya versus Medellin. So right now, currently, I'm in Pattaya. I've been in Pattaya now since I want to say the second week of September of 2025. We're currently January 27th of 2025. I've left Pattaya a couple times. I've gone to other cities. I've gone to different countries and things like that, but I ended up coming right back to Pattaya. And I think the biggest thing that I like about Pattaya as it pertains to being against Medellin is that the price of housing is a lot cheaper inside of Pattaya. So typically, the cost of rent in Pattaya can go anywhere from about 250 USD or lower to maybe you can spend anywhere to about 2,500 USD, and 2,500 USD will get you something really nice, right? Get you probably a villa with a couple bedrooms, a couple bathrooms, a pool, jacuzzi, things like that. Where I'm at right now is not really that expensive. What this will probably cost you if you were renting for a couple months, it'll probably run you anywhere between $200 to $400 per month for me, just because I'm doing like a different deal with the guy, and I'm paying probably just under $700 a month for this one bedroom, which is probably a little bit more on the pricey side. But I kind of don't really, I don't feel like looking for another apartment. You know what I mean? I'm just like, hey man, let's just do it through Airbnb. I don't really care because I'm not going to be here that long anyway. But with that being said, just the cost of living in Pattaya in terms of rent is cheaper than Medellin. Now, Medellin has seen some major inflation when it comes to housing over these last couple years. I'm talking like, because there's a lot of gringos and foreigners and there's money there, a lot of these homeowners get extremely greedy and start raising the prices of rent. And I would say Medellin's biggest curse is greed, right? It's greed runs that entire city. You could almost even say it runs the whole country, but just because we're only comparing cities right now, greed runs the city of Medellin. So I have seen rent increase for a space like this inside of Medellin can start running you about $800 to $1,200 per month easily. It starts looking like U.S. prices when it comes to rent and things like that. I did have a two-bedroom, two-bathroom in Sabaneta in Medellin for about $550 a month, and this is what the owner is actually charging me. He's probably getting it for less than that, but for $550 a month. But it wasn't like a ton of room. It was some pretty small, decent sized rooms. But typically, rent in Medellin and adjacent cities and similar lifestyles probably going to run you between $500 to about $1,200 per month, and that's the rent inside of Medellin. So Pattaya takes the win on that one. Now, let's talk chicas. I know that's what a lot of you guys are going to click and try to watch for anyway. You guys want to know about chicas and things like that. So I've actually been able, and I've been fortunate enough to live in both cities for quite some time. I would say even me living in Pattaya and living in Medellin, a big reason of choosing these cities was because of women. Let's just be honest. I'm young, I'm single, so being able to just mingle with women was definitely a good thing for me. And I think Medellin, there is nothing more intoxicating than the beauty of a beautiful Colombian Latina woman. Okay, there's nothing more intoxicating than that. It's It's beautiful. They smell wonderful. They look great. They're going to raise your libido just by walking around them, especially when you walk into the gym. You'll be doing more reps on the weights than you ever have because they look absolutely fabulous. So, in terms of just sheer beauty, when it comes to the women, I have to give it to Medellin. But if I had to tell you just about just overall experience with women, being able to really embrace, like culture and feel like I have a woman that's really trying to connect with me and likes me for me, I think I feel that. Whether it's, true or not, whether I'm being played or not, you feel more of that in Pattaya, right? A lot of the girls are trying to be cultured into black culture. They love black American culture. I've never seen such a love and desire and passion for black men the way I see it here in Pattaya. From Asian women at that, right? Women that look really like just something that you typically wouldn't run into. You run into it a lot inside of Pattaya, Thailand. So I definitely think Pattaya, in that essence, is almost like black man's paradise, right? So, we want women that make us feel good, make us feel like we're important, um, desire us deeply. And I can honest to God say, women in Pattaya really, really love black men. They hit a point in their life where they say to themselves they're not dating anything besides a black man, and they commit and they have children and they want to raise families. And you don't typically see this in Medellin, right? Inside of Medellin, you don't see a lot of black men marrying these women or having babies or children with them. They typically have their babies with their own men, and then they kind of like hang around black men, if that, right, really for the benefit, or anyone that really has money, really. That's really how it is in Medellin. Like I said, that city is really ran by greed. Now, both cities are nightlife heavy. Gold digger is the word we're going to use for this video. Gold digger heavy, right? So Pattaya, there's a lot of girls looking for gold. Medellin, there's a lot of girls looking for gold. I think the thing about Pattaya is that almost the entirety of the city, especially some of the jobs like working inside of like the massage parlors, working as bar girls, working as freelancers, a lot of the population here is involved in gold digging types of jobs versus inside of Medellin, a lot of the girls there are forced to get regular jobs and work regular jobs. And even though you can find some girls that go to jobs specifically for entertainment, um, a lot of them typically don't work in those fields, right? Because though, like the ones that have to get dressed every night and entertain and put on and things like that, these are probably some of the best looking women you'll find, right? And then and those women in themselves are absolutely crushing whatever beauty standards that you might have compared to the States. But even then, there's women more beautiful than them that don't even have to entertain because they lock down the men with resources, they lock down the men with money, and they typically get put up somewhere. And that's something that I've been saying for a while. I've noticed inside of Medi. In Medi, the woman that's on the top of the food chain, absolutely flawless, gorgeous, influencer like, are usually locked away somewhere by some guy with money who doesn't want her outside. And that's just the truth of the matter. But there's so many of these women in Medellin that you virtually can run into a woman who looks just as good. And if you basically have what she's looking for, you know what I'm saying? You can make it work. You can be in a relationship. You can, make her, a model for your clothing brand or whatever it is you have going on. That's what Medellin is. Money talks more in Medellin than I would say it even talks in Pattaya, right? Um, Usually it goes both ways. You can't really buy a woman's affection or love or even like desire for you, but you definitely can have your way more in Medellin with money. And let me also say this, Medellin is cheaper to live in than Pattaya. I think that's something we don't talk about. Even though the rent is higher, all of the other costs equalize itself out. you can spend less money and have a way lesser budget in Medellin than you possibly could in Pattaya. Pattaya, they will find ways to empty your bank account. When you go to Medellin, you literally just have to avoid Poblado. If you can avoid Poblado, you will save yourself money. If you could avoid places like Parquilleras, Provenza, anywhere in Poblado, I'm talking like don't even step foot in Poblado, you will save yourself so much money. Pattaya, you can go into any bar and it's pretty much going to be the same thing. It's going to be lady drinks. It's going to be, bar fines. It's going to be eating out every day. It's going to be a bunch of things that will cost you money. And transportation is not necessarily that cheap, right? So now let's go into transportation. If you wanted to go about 5 kilometers out in a car, you're probably going to spend anywhere between $5 and $6 inside of Pattaya. If you wanted to take the same distance in a car in Medellin, you're looking at about $3 to $4, right? And if you're going anywhere farther than that inside of Pattaya, you're probably looking at about a 6 to 10. And inside of Medi, you're probably looking at anywhere between 5 and 8. Now, it does get more expensive depending on where you go. I know some people, they're calling Ubers for friends that live in Rio Negro and things like that. So it can add up depending on how often you do it. But for me, I'm currently in Jomtien. The gym I go to is in Central Pattaya. That's a $6 trip just going there and coming back every single day. So you almost got to take a motorbike, right? And motorbikes, for me, I don't really enjoy motorbikes too much because I know that they're dangerous, but I definitely don't do them inside of Medellin. I'm more prone to take a motorbike inside of Pattaya because it's safer. And now that brings me to my last and final point, which I already know a bunch of you guys have already been thinking. Well, which one is safer? Hands down, the most enjoyable city for me to live in is going to be the safer city. And the safer city is going to be Pattaya. Pattaya is way safer than Medellin. The safety component is probably going to be the anchoring component, the most weighted component for all of us. Safety means our life. We can't enjoy the pleasures of a city if we don't even have a life to enjoy it in. I can walk around with my phone in Pattaya. I can walk around with my camera. I feel safe. I don't think anyone's going to come rob me. And that's not to say it's impossible, but it's just unlikely. In Medellin, it's almost like a coin toss. It's like a 50-50. If I'm walking through the wrong neighborhood, especially with technology or anything like that, the kinds of stories that I've heard that have happened to people, the things I've seen that happen to people on a constant basis, the manipulation and the weaponizing of police by some of these women, when it comes to dealing with foreigners, knowing that if they call the police, regardless of who's at fault, regardless of what it is, if a police sees an opportunity to basically extort you in Medellin, he will. And I've had them try it with me. I've had them always try to find some way to benefit the woman rather than actually doing the right thing. And that just, fortunately, that hasn't happened to me in Thailand. I haven't seen the women try to weaponize the police really at all. And I do believe that the Thai police are probably likely to be more fair, more patient, and understanding when it comes to dealing with foreigners versus, inside of Medellin, it's really a towing cost. And for me, I've had the pleasure of dealing with police that did their job and did the right things, especially when I had my phone stolen at the time. And I've also had police that were trying to figure out any way that they could get me to pay them money or basically kind of like, suffer in some way, shape, or form to try to appease the girl, which is a story that probably I'm going to come out with a little bit later, right? Just sharing some of my bad experiences inside of Colombia. But those experiences have been kept to basically a minimum, really, living inside of Pattaya, being here inside of Pattaya. So, you know, there's a lot of really good things living inside of Medellin that I can't really share on a public YouTube video, but really, Like I said earlier in one of my live streams, Medellín is really just a cheaper version of a fast life in Miami. Pattaya um, is probably the entire like city is like gold digger central, but you can get away from it. But you're not going to be able to get away from it as much as you could in Medi. Like in Medi, you could separate yourself completely, but when it comes to just dealing with the girls in Medi, all of them are on that same exact timing, right? Where a regular chick, you know, if she's going to entertain a foreigner, she's probably a gold digger. Inside of Pattaya, she's going to entertain you. She could be, really into you, but you don't necessarily know what she does for work. And she could work in a massage parlor or she could work as a bar girl. And then you have to understand that that's what Pattaya is. Now, it's not the entirety of Thailand. Thailand does have different cities, different jobs, different things people do, but I'm really speaking for my audience because my audience know what they would like to get themselves into when they go to some of these countries. They would like to meet people. They would like to see if they could find a wife or find a girlfriend or find a vibe, and they should just know what to expect. So, to basically summarize and to mention a little bit more points that I might have missed, Pattaya is definitely a little bit more of a party city than Medellin is. Medellin is more of a fast life city. It's more dangerous. It's more adrenaline. There's more beauty, but overall, it's way more dangerous than Pattaya. Pattaya is a lot safer. It can be more tranquil, right? Both cities have their cons and their pros. But I think if you're looking for a place where you can focus, especially if you get away from the women, I think Medellin is definitely a good place to focus a little bit more, especially if you can keep yourself safe, because your biggest dangers inside of Medellin is really going to be the women. And Pattaya is just overall safer, but there's a lot more distractions inside of Pattaya. So you really have to just pick your poison when it comes to this one. If you guys like videos like this, I can do a little series and break things down. I'm just kind of giving you guys like a general breakdown in this video. Maybe we can talk about ownership and finances in another video as it pertains to living in two different cities or two countries. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you haven't seen the video already, make sure that you guys go check out the video where I talk about whether you want to live in Asia or South America. And that video will be right here or here somewhere. Anyways, it's your boy. Peace.